Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the powerful lessons from a little book called The Parable of the Pipeline by BRX Hedges. It presents a really simple but profound choice that could totally reshape your financial future.
So, what's it all about? Well, at its heart, the book says there are two totally different ways to earn money. Are you a bucket carrier, where you're basically just trading your time for cash? Or are you a pipeline builder, where you create assets that bring in money for you, around the clock?
All right, let's get into the story. Picture this, a small village and two ambitious young cousins, Pablo and Bruno. They get the exact same opportunity to haul water from a nearby river and sell it in the village square. Now Bruno, he was over the moon. He thought, this is it, my dream job. He starts carrying buckets right away, and his big plan is just to get bigger and bigger buckets to make more money. But Pablo saw things differently. He decides to use his spare time to build a pipeline, something that would bring the water to the village automatically.
You can probably guess what happened. Pablo's idea was met with a lot of skepticism. The villagers and even his cousin Bruno kinda laughed at him for all his slow, hard work. I mean, while Bruno was kicking back in the evenings, Pablo was out there, digging day after day, because he knew that a little sacrifice today could build the life of his dreams tomorrow.
So let's really look at the problem with Bruno's strategy, what the book calls the bucket carrier's trap. And this is a big deal, because the author argues that pretty much 99% of people are stuck in this trap right now.
And here's the crucial point. Carrying buckets only gives you temporary income. It is not long-term wealth. It gives you this illusion of security. But think about it. The second you stop carrying those buckets, for any reason, the money just stops. Cold. It's a super fragile way to live.
And this is where it gets really real. It forces you to ask yourself some pretty tough questions. Let's start with a big one. What would actually happen if your main source of income just vanished tomorrow? Right? What if you literally can't trade your time for money anymore? You get sick, you get injured, maybe the company you work for has layoffs. Suddenly, your ability to carry that bucket is just gone. This really brings the risk into sharp focus, doesn't it? Without a pipeline, without that financial lifeline, how long could you actually last? For most people, a single unexpected disaster could completely wipe out their financial stability almost overnight. Okay, so let's flip the script and talk about Pablo's solution. Let's look at how a pipeline builds a true financial lifeline. This is an asset that pays you whether you're sleeping, on vacation, or retired. It literally works for you 24/7. And if you think this is all just a nice little story, check out this real-world example. It's pretty wild. On one side, you have Darryl Strawberry, a pro athlete who made tens of millions in his career. A huge bucket, right? But his net worth when he stopped playing? Almost nothing. On the other side, you have Margaret O'Donnell, a school teacher who earned a modest salary her whole life. So what was the difference? Well, Margaret built a pipeline. For 50 years, she consistently invested a small part of her modest income. And the result? She died a multimillionaire, leaving a fortune behind. It's just a perfect real-life example of how a small but consistent pipeline beats a huge but temporary bucket every single time. All right, so the big question is, how do you actually build one of these pipelines for yourself? According to the book, it all comes down to understanding and using two really powerful forms of leverage. First, you've got time leverage. This is what business owners do when they hire people. They're leveraging other people's time to get more done. And then you've got money leverage. And that's the beautiful part. That's where you make your money work for you, letting your wealth grow all by itself. Now, the absolute key to leveraging money is understanding the mind-blowing power of compounding. You've probably heard the old story about the king who loved the game of chess. He offered the inventor any reward he wanted, and the guy asked for something simple, just 1 grain of rice on the first square of the chessboard, 2 on the second, 4 on the third, and so on. The king thought, what a bargain. But by the time they got to the 64th square, the total number of grains was a staggering 18 quintillion. That's quintillion with a Q. That is the magic of compounding. It's what Albert Einstein supposedly called the 8th wonder of the world. Now here's the thing. Building a traditional pipeline, like our teacher Margaret did, took 50 years. That takes an incredible amount of patience. But today we have a tool that completely changes the timeline, and that tool is the internet. This lets us compare the old 50-year plan with a much more modern 5-year plan. The internet has created what the book calls the e-pipeline. Think about it, creating an online course, building a YouTube channel, an e-commerce store. These are all modern pipelines that can build income streams way faster than the old methods.
The author calls this incredible combination e-compounding. It's basically taking that timeless, proven principle of compounding and strapping a rocket to it with the speed and global reach of the internet. A digital product can reach millions of people almost instantly, creating growth at a scale that was just unimaginable before.
And the opportunity here is just massive. You can start an e-pipeline with very little money. Instead of big piles of cash, you leverage your most valuable asset, your time. This opens the door for absolutely anyone to be their own boss and build a business that can create true financial freedom.
So it all comes back to that central choice. And the author makes a really critical point. The absolute best time to start building your pipeline is when things are going great, when you don't even think you need one. Don't wait until your bucket starts to run dry.
The big takeaway from all of this is finding that balance. Just like the author says, live for today, but plan for tomorrow. This isn't about sacrificing all your happiness now, it's about making smart choices today to secure your freedom tomorrow.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Because sooner or later, for every single one of us, the bucket is going to run dry. The only question is, are you building your pipeline?